Well, good morning. Thank you all for being here this morning. I first want to acknowledge some of the folks that are here behind me. Our Fire Rescue Chief, Brian Fennessy, Alan Aralato, our President of the Local 145, representing the city's firefighters, our Lifeguard Chief, Rick Wirtz, and Mark Mercer, who is President of our Deputy City Attorneys Association. We're here to announce that the city has reached a new multi-year agreements with San Diego City firefighters, our lifeguards, AFSCME, which are our skilled trade workers, and our deputy city attorneys. And I want to give you a few words to describe these agreements. These agreements are fair. These agreements are a good deal for our taxpayers and our neighborhoods. And these agreements invest in the dedicated and hardworking city employees that I am so very proud of as mayor. The agreement with our firefighters includes reforms that both the city and the Fire Rescue Department agree will improve overall effectiveness. And these agreements means that now we are closer than ever before to having all 6 of the city's labor organizations under contract through the end of the decade. That uphold pension reform as approved by the voters. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, this is not only a fair deal, this is a very significant deal for our city. And it wouldn't have been possible without the work of the city's skilled negotiators and the commitment of our public servants behind me to reach a common sense deal. You may recall that under a 5-year agreement adopted under a previous administration in 2013, and the city reached landmark contracts with all 6 of its employee groups through 2018. But when we assigned those agreements, the city agreed to reopen negotiations after 3 years for discussion. And that, of course, brings us to today. We've used this renegotiation opportunity to make sure that our city workforce is positioned to provide the services that San Diegans deserve and expect. Last year, we renegotiated contract extensions with the police officers and the Municipal Employees Association. And over the last several weeks, we've reached tentative agreements to extend contracts with our lifeguards, our AFSCME members, and our deputy city attorneys. And on Friday, following approval by a majority of San Diego firefighters, the city and the firefighters reached their agreement, making this contract extension the final one to have been struck. This will help us keep San Diego one of the safest big cities in the country. And it means continuing to invest in the dedicated men and women serving as our firefighters and as our lifeguards. To invest in the public attorneys who fight to protect everything from taxpayer dollars to crime victims. And to invest in our skilled trade workers who repair our fleet and keep our public buildings in working condition. These 4 agreements also provide benefits in line with the private sector trends, such as paid parental leave, tuition reimbursement for job-related training and education, and modest compensation adjustments in the outer years. The new contract for our firefighters also includes reform to vacation and overtime rules to help reduce the city's financial liability. These changes will not only help not only save taxpayers money, but also make sure that the firefighters receive the benefits that they were promised. And as you've heard me say many times, we've tripled the amount of funding for street repair. We've more than doubled the spending on capital improvement projects. We're building new and improved parks. We're keeping libraries and rec centers hours at their highest level in a decade. And we're going to keep investing in our neighborhoods. And these contract extensions mean that we will be better positioned with a capable and skilled workforce to do all of that, to help us pave streets, protect our neighborhoods, and serve our communities. We are going to do the things that the city wasn't able to do during the pension crisis and the recession, because we are not going to repeat the financial mistakes of the past, because we're going to work together, put politics aside, and do what's right for our city. And none of this will happen until the City Council approves these 4 tentative agreements with lifeguards, our AFSCME workers, deputy city attorneys, and firefighters. So I urge the council without delay to authorize it when these contracts come before them in just a couple of weeks. I'm proud of the work that we have done together. Myself, my colleagues on the council, and all of the representatives of our city's bargaining units. And I'm proud that we're going to continue to work to make sure that we are putting our city workers and our neighborhoods first. So I want to thank everybody for all of their hard work, particularly over these last several months and the last final weeks. These are contracts that we can be proud of that will last for literally years to come. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our Fire Rescue Chief, Brian Fennessy. Brian?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here this morning. Our San Diego City firefighters are professional and dedicated first responders, and they deserve a lot of credit for their selflessness. I'm happy to be a part of this announcement today that we've come to an agreement that provides our firefighters and lifeguards additional benefits. Like so many of our firefighters, I've worked through some very challenging times in San Diego. I credit them for sticking with it, sticking with our mutual dream of helping people for a living when it may have been easier and certainly more lucrative to do elsewhere. The men and women of the Fire Rescue Department know this city. They love this city, and they love serving our community members. I thank them for that and congratulate them on this new agreement. Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to introduce Alan Arlotto, who's president of Local 145. Alan?
Good morning. I'm Alan Arlotto, president of Local 145, representing the 850 men and women of the San Diego Fire Rescue Department that ride on your fire engines and trucks every day. I want to start off by making a quick clarification, because I think maybe in the press announcement this morning, it may be understood that there's something in this agreement that deals with pension reform, and I just want to clarify that it does not. I think it's pretty clear to most people that the mayor and I disagree on pension reform. However, the professionalism of the mayor and the honesty and the dialogue we're able to have, that reasonable people can disagree. And so we set aside the issues of pension reform and worked on this deal for several weeks. And it's a fair deal for both the employees and the citizens, and as the mayor said, provides a much more effective firefighting force to the citizens of San Diego. A lot of things in this deal embrace the values of this city. There's a military leave benefit that now embraces the service of our military members in the San Diego Fire Rescue Department. There's a parental leave benefit that helps our new parents in the fire department care for their young children. And lastly, there's pay raises, amongst many other terms. There's pay raises in this contract. This will represent the first salary increase in 10 years for San Diego firefighters. Our last salary increase was in 2008. And I raise that to highlight a point that's all by agreement. That is how we get the business done in this city. That's the most effective way to get this done, is at the table by agreement. And so for 10 years, the San Diego City firefighters have not had a salary increase from 2008 to 2018. That has provided hundreds of millions of dollars in savings to this city in terms of pensions, salary, overtime. We were in a crisis in the city of San Diego several years ago, and we were here to help get us out of that crisis. Now there's light. There's light at the end of the tunnel. And this contract shows that as we move forward to get to the end of the tunnel, firefighters will get a pay raise. We actually get a contribution to retiree health, because all of our firefighters hired after July 1 of 2005 have no retiree health subsidy. It's a small subsidy, but it's a subsidy nonetheless to help our firefighters defer the cost of health care in retirement. So I'd like to wrap up by saying thank you to the mayor, thank you to the fire chief, thank you to my negotiations team, and thank you to the city's negotiations team for all the hard work in coming to this agreement over the past several months. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alan. Thank you for all of your work, particularly in the last several months. People don't always see the hours and hours that goes into negotiating these contracts. And Alan, I thank you for doing such a remarkable job, literally day in and day out. Our last speaker today is Mark Mercer, who is our president of our Deputy City Attorneys Association. Again, so proud of the work that our deputy city attorneys do. That go through every single part of the city, affect every single department. And Mark, I want to thank you for your leadership and your teamwork. Mark Mercer.
I really want to thank the mayor and the city's negotiating team for showing leadership and getting some pay increases down the line for our city attorneys. Our deputies are hardworking, and I think this agreement actually gives us a step forward in retaining those attorneys to make sure that the providing that quality legal work that's so vital for the city. With that, we'd just like to thank the mayor. Thank you.
But going through my list, and I wanted to make sure I introduced our lifeguard chief, Chief Wirtz. And Chief Wirtz, I want to thank you for not only the excellent work that you're doing. This is obviously one of the busiest times of the year for our men and women in our lifeguard services. Just did an outstanding job on Memorial Day weekend. And Chief, I wanted to give you the opportunity to say a few words about our lifeguards.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, today is a great day. For our city's lifeguards serving our community at our beautiful beaches, every day is special. San Diego's and visitors alike come to our coastline to enjoy the sand, the water, and our great weather. And keeping our beaches safe and our bays safe is key to keeping San Diego great. Protecting people is a challenging job. It's also a rewarding job. As rewarding as it is, our lifeguards are worth fair compensation, and I'm happy we've reached an agreement with this new contract. Yesterday marked the unofficial start to summer, and as some of our seasonal lifeguards are making their first rescues of the season, I hope this contract helps them to see the possibilities of a career as a lifeguard for the city of San Diego. I'm grateful to work with such a dedicated group of men and women in the lifeguard division, in the fire rescue department, and I want to offer my thanks to Mayor Faulkner, to our personnel, and to all the staff who were able to get us to this point today. Thanks very much.